fellow citizens of Disneyland, happy 66th birthday. Let's start this stream early because the party has already began. Welcome to the live stream. I'm starting early today because I don't want to keep you 1 minute away from the party.
How about a hand for the smooth alto saxophone sounds, Miguel? Nice job, buddy. And we even featured our two sousaphones back there, Kyle and even Evan back there. Nice job, guys. Sousaphone solo or tangled medley. Well, you know, when Walt Disney built this magical place 66 years ago, he wanted guests to feel like they were entering into a different world, right into the heart of adventure and sounds and sight and excitement. And we've taken some of our favorite Disney adventures and put them in this next one. You'll hear some music from Peter Pan, Indiana Jones, and I think we might even take you to a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. joined by Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and all their pals. We would love to see you all there. Hey, we hope you all have a great day here at Disneyland, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Wowie, wee wow. What a celebration we're already having. Hey, my phone is already overheated. The screen is black. So I appreciate whatever comments are coming through, but damn if I could see them. Let me spin this camera around off of my face. Just wanted to say hi to you guys real quick. Let's do this. Let's start our 66th anniversary celebrational stream. We were able to catch the Disneyland band, and I have to say, I've seen the band play lots of times. I have never caught that second set of songs before with Star Wars, and I've never heard the band play Soarin' or their rendition of the Indiana Jones soundtrack. That was awesome. Let me step over here in the shade real quick and see if I can't see the screen and say hi to you guys. Woo. It is a hot one out here today, and as you can see, the park is back to being full. And I am just unable to see the... Hey, what's up, bud? How you doing, man?
Good.
Happy birthday, Disneyland, right?
Yeah, and mine's tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday. 66 tomorrow?
Nah, quite. 47.
Have fun, buddy.
All right.
Happy birthday.
All right.
I see a super chat came through. I think it's Larry. Thanks, bud. I appreciate that so much, man. Okay, let's do this. This is what I have planned for you, friends. Let's take a walk around the original footprint of Disneyland. Let's celebrate what was here on opening day, a Saturday, a hot Saturday, just like today. But we won't get into, well, the pavement had just been set and the ladies' shoes were getting stuck in it, or the old, they had to pick water fountains or toilets. So they picked toilets, and then everybody convinced them that it was a scam to sell water. Look at this good old crowd hanging out at the old women's intimate apparel shop. Friends, one day I'll wear a cyber helmet so I can see the chats while I'm walking through the park, but I hope you guys are having fun over there in the chat. I appreciate everybody showing up on a Saturday. And let's just catch this vibe right now as it goes by. I have loved seeing how they've been using all of the old Main Street vehicles. Just really does add that next level of storytelling to Main Street USA, which I think if you followed this channel, you know by now, this is my favorite land. Let's work our way up to the hub. Inspired by European city design to represent a hub or a center of a wheel where each land would be a spoke off of the center. So therefore, keeping an efficient crowd flow, people would reach the end, see one of the, what they refer to as weenies, and I hate that term. It just feels insulting. like I'm gonna run after a hot dog. I mean, I would run after a hot dog, but you know what I'm saying. To me, it just blows my mind to imagine this park without the partner statue. It's just one of those things that feels like it's been here since the beginning of time. But man, oh man, how crazy would it be if you built a park of your, you built a park, you used your last name, you called it Disneyland, or in my case, I'd call it Brickyland. You build a park and then in the middle of it, you put a statue of yourself. That would have been a bad look, but appropriate for the legacy and the legend that Walt Disney would go on to become. And I always refer to this statue as a two-part project. Mickey Mouse is the mascot that kids understand, and Walt has become the mascot that adults understand. Not a perfect person, definitely a man of his time period, but when you look back on the century that he was a part of, one of the brightest, most innovative, most courageous, most creative minds of his century. And I think if anything, it really showed that you don't always have to be a great draftsman or illustrator. You don't have to be good with your hands to be a good artist. And if Walt was good at any part of artistry, it was managing people, having a big vision, and really seeing how different parts and projects could all snap together. When I had the honor to sit down at the dinner table with Rolly Crump and talk to him for my 1000th episode of Adventures in Design, Rolly explained to me that when you worked with Mr. Disney or Walt, that he would give you a very specific part of a project, and you wouldn't know how your project would tap into all the other artisans working on that project, but Walt always did. So Rolly told me a story about working on making all the tiki mask for the Enchanted Tiki Room, and he's like, I really had no idea how all this was going to come together, but I didn't worry about it because I knew that my boss did and always would know the way to sort of piece these things together. So I think Walt really, I don't think of him as a visual artist per se, and I don't think that he was a very good one at that, and a lot of people get confused. He was a great project manager and a great dreamer that was able to take big ideas, break them apart into small, actionable steps, and anyone who's an entrepreneur will always tell you that's how the job gets done. Taking that big idea and breaking it apart into little steps so that one day the end of your legacy is creating something as beautiful as Disneyland that has entertained the world, not just America, not just Southern California, but the world now for 66 years. And hopefully the world can get back to coming to Disneyland. I know my best friend who lives in England is dying to get over here, and I know some of our Club 1313 members from Criminal Convict Island of Australia are dying to get back here. And let's just hope that at 67, the park is full of international guests because the world has worked together. Look at that, through the brush. Through the brush. Don't want to get in the way of any of the children's photographs. All right, let's work through Tomorrowland, one of the original lands of 1955, but not too much original that is left. That is for sure. It seems that when they started working on Disneyland, a lot of the money and effort went to the western side of the park. And once they got over to the eastern side, they just kind of threw some stuff in Tomorrowland and like, coming soon. We'll get to it sooner than later. And I think anybody who's ever built a project, you really kind of get down to like, what are the core things I need for launch? What are the things that I can wait? And the wait strategy isn't bad because people showed up, they saw the promise of everything that could come, but they also saw that there was room for it to grow, room for it to expand. So I'm sure that when you came in 55, the idea that Tomorrowland wasn't ready for you probably intrigued you that the next visit, the next time you came back, maybe you would actually get to see Tomorrowland in action and get to experience some of the attractions that they were teasing coming soon. Now there is one faux piece of history from Tomorrowland version 1.0, and it's the rocket here in the back corner of the land. Now the rocket we have today is by no means the original rocket from 55, and in fact it's not even the original scale. Off the top of my head, I believe it's a third of the size of the original rocket. And if you think about 55, guys, that's so long ago that America, the world, mankind, the human race had not yet broke out into space and visited the moon yet. And some will say they still haven't, but that's a different argument for a different day. But imagine being 10 years old and 55, coming into Walt Disney's Disneyland that you've been watching, documented each step of the way over on ABC, and then you see a giant rocket, and they tell you one day that rocket is going to take you to the moon. That would have been so phenomenal, and it really does show how all these children around me today, all these kids that you see here, oh, what's up, Stitch? All these kids are living in a completely complicated world of internet, always being around screens. To them, every toy should do three things, or it's not worth one bit of their time. But in 55, when this park was erected, life was so much simpler. Things moved so much slower. So an attraction like Autopia, where a kid gets to get behind the wheel, take it for a spin, and drive a car like mom and dad does, that was peak entertainment at that time. If you've seen the old opening day footage that was carried over on ABC, you know that Walt Disney brokered a deal with ABC that he would give them the exclusive rights to cover the opening of Disneyland in exchange for a little revenue to finish the project. That's how fly by night that first year of Disneyland was, when the park was actually built. Shovels in the ground in 54, guests through the gate in 55. So brokering a deal with ABC was instrumental in getting more money, and you know the rest of that story. Now, Walt Disney's company owns ABC. That's a real sign of the times when the one-time loanee becomes your property. That's like you going today to buy a house and you need money from Bank of America, and then decades later, not only do you own the house, but you own Bank of America. But Autopia, on that opening day, there was no middle rail. Little ones could actually steer it and drive it. And there's footage of a young Frank Sinatra with Frank Sinatra Jr. at the wheel taking off in the Autopia, because that's just how big the opening day was. It had been masterfully hyped through the weekly show over on ABC called DISNEYLAND, where Walt would show you his model and explain to you how the park was going to work in what would predate infomercials, you know, entertainment that lies somewhere between valued content and advertising. One of the first people to use TV in that regard. But at the same time, building hype and anticipation for this theme park. So much anticipation that on the soft opening on this day, 66 years ago, many people wanted to get into the park. There was bootleg tickets. There was a guy with a ladder charging people to climb. Look at her, texting and driving. Even in Autopia, people can't put the phone down. But anyways, this is one of the opening day classics. Autopia has been here from the beginning. Its footprint has changed a little bit, as well as its, I'll say, cultural capital that it presents to its guests. Driving a car this slow on a rail. I'm back. I apologize about that. It seems that a phone call coming through is enough to actually lock up the live stream. I appreciate all the people that reached out to tell me that it was frozen, but I was just telling you guys a really great story into a phone that wasn't doing anything. It absolutely beats the situation we were in last year. If you could do me a favor, if you're a Club 1313 member, go over into the Discord and please let everybody know that the stream is unfrozen and we're back to ripping. Seems that a phone call that came through was enough to lock up my overheating phone. Man, I was on a storyteller's roll when we parted ways. If anybody can remind me, what was the last thing that we talked about? Autopia, yes. Cute Latin guy, thank you. We were talking about Autopia. AS, thank you so much for the super chat. Frank Sinatra, okay, Frank Sinatra. Well, right after Frank Sinatra, I spun around and showed you guys the Disneyland Railroad. I will save that story for whenever we re-encounter the Disneyland Railroad. But, yes, Autopia was definitely an amazing attraction at the time. It will be interesting to see if it's still here at its 100th birthday, as the world has changed so much. And as I was saying earlier when we were going through Tomorrowland, you know, I wonder if this ride is stimulating enough for younger guests of Disneyland, as they have very intense video games, drones, see mom and dad riding in self-driving cars, It will be interesting to see, does the Utopia, which takes up a huge footprint, make it to its 100th anniversary? But I have to say, all the kids that are ripping by me have big smiles on their faces and seem to be very stoked to be the one steering today. Oh, Thesulu, my negative friend. Oh, look at you. Look at you. I bet everything will be gone on the 100th day. Here we can see these construction walls. To my surprise, Finding Nemo is somehow on its way back. I really thought that, I'll pull Thesulu and say, I thought that Nemo would never happen. But there you go, it's back. Also on opening day, this would just be a pile of dirt. Matterhorn Mountain would not exist. I believe they called it Lookout Mountain. And I believe it kind of became a little makeout spot for teens in the 50s. And so Matterhorn would get erected in its place. Perfect use of words there. Oh, CK, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. I appreciate it. Let's work our way through here. You can see the Matterhorn line is taken over the entire walkway. That should be bending back that way, but it's not. I'm sure a cast member will get that taken care of ASAP. But as we work our way through Tomorrowland and we come up on the edge of Fantasyland, important to note, on opening day, this plaza's not here. This wouldn't become part of Disneyland until the 60s, after the 64 World's Fair, where It's a Small World would premiere. And even though technically, the Storybook Land canal boats would be here on opening day, there's just one problem. There was no story yet. Walt's original vision of this attraction was inspired by something that he had seen at a theme park over in Europe, where you would get into your boat and you would go around icons of the world. Think Baby Eiffel Tower and whatnot. But luckily for all of us, that when they actually went to build it, they focused on using the icons from the already rich Disney library of stories that they had told through their animation studio. So even though Storybook Land was open on opening day, it would close shortly after, and you were literally just riding around in a boat around mounds of dirt. And definitely gets back to what I was talking about earlier, that when you build a project, you just got to get it going. You got to get it open, and you got to circle back around and worry about all the details. If you wait till you make something perfect, you will probably never finish anything in your life. Done is better than perfect, which is a motto that I know so many artists live by. Is this painting my most perfect piece? Is this illustration my most perfect piece? Is this the best song I ever wrote? No, but it's the song I wrote today. I will live tomorrow to paint again, to draw again, to play music again, and I will try to be my best the next time that I show up. And I love that sort of embodiment of creative freedom, of we'll get there when we get there, was sort of the style guide of the original Disneyland. Now I'm patiently waiting for a true opening day classic to come out of that tunnel and rip by, because Casey Jr. is one of the original 13 attractions from opening day that is still ripping. And although it would just be a little baby train going around, no stories like it does today, it was here doing laps. And as part of what I was talking about when the stream got frozen, shout out to Elsa and Anna, that it was trains that inspired Walt's park. And when you're creative and you follow your heart, a polo accident where he can no longer play his favorite sport, and thinking of Walt playing polo is pretty funny to me. But getting over into trains and pursuing a childhood enthusiasm for trains, it was like loving the train and following his heart that would get him into collecting his own train, running the Carolwood Pacific through his backyard. But what's fascinating about that story is when you do follow your heart, you have no idea where it will take you next. And everybody knows that getting into trains is only half of being a train enthusiast. There goes the Casey on the inside track. There's a second track that would actually put them closer to us. But there you see the Casey doing its rip. But when you become a train enthusiast, your train is only half of your collection. Because the other half of being into trains is building a little village for the trains to go around. And that's exactly what Disneyland would become. The little village inside of Walt's train collection. And I just love when you kind of look at, a creative person's life in reverse. It all seems masterful and planned, right? Oh, he did this, he did that, it all lined up, boom, boom, boom. It's a sweet story that you can make a movie about. But if you actually think about it, not in reverse, but in forward, when he got into trains, when he got the news, dude, you can't play polo again, you shouldn't be riding horses, another fall like that could mess you up for life. When he got that news, he wasn't like, all right, well, I'll go build a theme park. It was step by step, piece by piece, that gets you to where you're supposed to go. And I think many of you, knowing the demographic of your age, you probably feel like you're behind. You feel like you were set out to do something masterful and you're stuck where you're at today. And I would say, friend, where you're at today is exactly where you're supposed to be. But it's how you let today inspire you to where you're supposed to go tomorrow. That is the missing link that a lot of people forget about because they get so frustrated on the outcomes of today. The oldest attraction in the park is King Arthur's Carousel. And I say it's the oldest one because, yes, it was here on opening day, even though it was up closer to the front of the castle. Right here is where the teacups would live. Another opening day attraction that we'll circle back and visit. But I wanted to walk you through the idea that King Arthur's Carousel has a very unique position, that it's the only non-original attraction inside of Disneyland. This carousel used to live in Toronto, Ontario, and Walt would purchase it, make lots of modifications to it because he wanted every horse to be a jumper. That's the horses that go up and down. So King Arthur's Carousel was purchased, shipped to Southern California. I believe they bought a second carousel or fabricated some of their own horses to sort of double its volume. But it is interesting that this is the oldest ride here because it predated Disneyland. And also an interesting fun fact, this is King Arthur's Carousel because the horses go in this direction. If the horses go in that direction, it is considered a merry-go-round. Whoever made that rule up is a true psychopath. All right. I want to thank everybody for all the super chats. I see that you guys have been very generous, and I hope you know that I'm just trying to do my best, telling you an amazing celebrational Disneyland story before we get back out in front of Sleeping Beauty's castle. Pinocchio was not a original day attraction to Fantasyland. Woo, it's crowded there. Pinocchio is not an OG, but Snow White, Peter Pan, and Mr. Toad all are opening day attractions. And about right where we're at right now is where King Arthur used to live. Well, for obvious reasons, I can barely walk through here without there being a carousel. Imagine if there were two rides inside the courtyard of Fantasyland, how congested that would be for 2021 audiences. Also important to note that all these front facades were redone with new Fantasyland that would premiere in 1983, where Fantasyland would get a facelift to look more like a European village and less like a Renaissance fair. You can still see kind of a shadow of that old look out in Walt Disney World, giving Disneyland, I believe, the superior looking Fantasyland. And then the teacups, like a lot of things, on opening day, they weren't perfect. The teacups were unpainted. Just a basic spinner ride from Arrowhead Development. But later, in '83, when Tony Baxter would oversee the reinvention of Fantasyland, the teacups would move over here to Alice's Corner. And I've got a little teaser for you guys that coming up next on the podcast, Jared Maruyama is my co-host, where we're going to talk about 60 6 years of Alice inside of Disneyland, but Alice turning 70, Disney's version of Alice turning 70. And I'm also making a little documentary over on YouTube that will walk you through the history of Alice in the park and how the Alice Corner came about. So the teacups would land over here in 1983, where even though there's sort of a nostalgic, great vibe of seeing them in the old photos, putting them down on the ground, recessing them down on the ground, gives everyone that walks by a stage to look at. And to give you a teaser about the documentary that's coming up, these lanterns all up here, these lanterns were put in the original concept that was too ambitious for them to build when they had all the projects going on of birthing Disneyland. But when they moved the attraction over here to put it in its current and final home, they added in lots of details that just weren't possible when they were racing against the clock to get the first teacups out. And then, of course, the Alice in Wonderland Dark Ride would not show up until 3 years later in 1958. It presented a lot of problems because you come in here, but then you have to go up above Mr. Toad's show building and even over into Peter Pan. Largely when you're in that attraction, you were riding above Toad's. So it was an interesting thing for them to figure out. How do we get folks up to a second floor? How do we bring them back down? And all of that will be covered in great detail in that little mini documentary coming out in a week over on the YouTube channel, as well as a podcast where Jerry talks all about the history of Alice. So as we come around to the edge of Fantasyland, we got to keep in mind that the Main Street vehicles used to take you up this far. They would take you up to the mound of dirt. There was no reason to stop at the hub. So yes, you did get a little bit of an extra ride on your Main Street vehicle. But the reason why that mound of dirt would appear, and this is kind of funny to think about the perfection that Disneyland is today, that when they bulldozed out the hole in the ground for Sleeping Beauty, when they bulldozed out all the earth to put in the moat here and to, really kind of dig down, put it up on a stage, they just pushed that dirt over to where the Matterhorn is. So it's interesting to think that a mound of dirt, well, we've already got a bump there. We've already got a mound of dirt. Why not build a mountain? And while we're at it, let's put 2 roller coasters inside. But if you remember on opening day, if you've seen that footage, the drawbridge was drawn up and they brought it down to celebrate children around the world. And it would stay down until it would go back up for New Fantasyland in 83. Okay, let's work our way around to the final 2 opening day lands. And then we'll work our way back to the end of the hub for a special 66th anniversary treat. Now, I'm not exactly sure if you could go to the backside of Fantasyland and work your way over to Frontierland. I'm just not sure if you could do that or not. But I do know that Frontierland was one of the opening day lands. And I do know that at one point there was a real gun shop in here. But you can see Frontierland has the flags on each side. There's 13 of them to symbolize the 13 colonies. And if we were to come back here in 55, we'd be able to see Davy Crockett ride on stagecoaches. We'd see Davy Crockett battle the natives that lived out into the brush. We'd also be able to see Native American ceremonial performances. But you have to think that Westerns were such a hot property. They were like the Marvel Cinematic Universe of their time. Westerns were so big, was a real big part of Disney live action entertainment that they had to put that into their park. And one of the opening day attractions, yes, it was considered an attraction, was the Golden Horseshoe, which if you look back, there's footage of Walt and Lillian using it to celebrate. But a building that's not even open today, but does have Jesse adorning the top. A building that's not even open today was considered to be like a major part of opening day. Well, well, well. The Columbia has come into port. Where is the Mark Twain? Where is the Mark Twain on the anniversary? One of the original big attractions. Once again, Walt would have a private celebration on it. They put so many people on the boat that it would start to take in water. Where is the Mark Twain? Excuse me, Frank. Where's the Mark Twain at today?
Mark Twain is operating, but we're unfortunately experiencing technical problems at this time.
Is it out in the river?
Yeah.
But it is running today for the anniversary, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Frank. I appreciate it. All right. Frank, the cast member, just let us know Mark Twain is operational today, but it is currently having problems, which means that the Mark Twain is probably broke down on the backside of the rivers of America, which is pretty wild. Well, I'm in just a little bit of a shade and kind of a quiet spot. I want to thank you guys for showing up with me today and taking this lap around where I'm doing my best to explain to you what the park looked like 66 years ago today. I appreciate all of you showing up here. Sorry that I've been absent with the chat. It's really, really busy here. It's very, very hot, and my phone screen for the most of the time has been nearly black, which is why earlier I talked to a dead phone for a solid 5-10 minutes. Let me see who's saying hi. I'm gonna spin around so I can get closer up to the screen here.
We're here to do live commentary for you. How you doing, Bricky? iClub 1313.
How you doing? Who am I speaking with?
This is Jen H. I'm Aurora.
Hi.
Hello, and
How you guys
kids
doing?
do not ruin Disneyland. Look at this kid.
That's
He's
not
so
a child, that's an
cute.
adult. That's
I
not a,
know,
hey.
When they're legal drinking age, maybe it's a little bit more. Good to see you,
Put
pal.
her in a stroller with a dirty diaper and she absolutely ruins Disneyland.
All the magic. Thank you
Good
for
to
all
see
you
you.
do.
Thank you for saying hi.
Bye,
Appreciate
guys.
it. I love your hat, by the way.
Thank you.
That was awesome. That's fun. Hey, Daphne Lee, how you doing? It's good to see you in here today, hanging out with everybody. Appreciate it. Hey, guys, what's up? What? Your dad watches the videos?
Yeah. And my daddy watches your video and he likes it.
Oh, well then, I would say that these kids have never ruined Disneyland. I love these two kids. How you doing, Dad?
Good, man. How are you?
How you doing, bud? What's your name?
Good. Dieter.
Dieter, man.
Yeah.
Nice to see
Are
you.
you live?
I'm live.
Hey, everyone.
Having fun today?
Of course. I mean, it's the birthday, right?
It's a birthday, and
Happiest place on earth.
it feels just like old. I say that every
It
time,
does,
but it
it
keeps
does.
feeling more and more real.
Yeah, we came middle of June for a week.
Yeah.
And it was right before they let everyone else in.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Now today, this is our next time back, and it's just like normal.
This
just
is
like,
2019.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
It's
it
like
is.
Thanos never snapped.
Exactly.
Have fun, man.
Hey,
Thanks for
thank
saying
you.
hi. I
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
it. Thanks,
Good to
buddy.
see
Cute kids.
Thank you.
Wow, that was wild. Yes, JT, lots and lots of citizens of Disneyland. I love these type of days because it always brings out the hardest of hardcore. I saw a call for more moderators. I can only imagine what's happening today. It seems you talk about racism and vaccinations and then they all come after you. All right, let's roll around to the final land on opening day, and then we'll hang out inside of the hub and see what special 66 activities we can find. But that original Rivers of America, man, when you look at the old footage of Walt smiling and waving off the side of the train, I mean, it was barren. It was really the Wild West of Disneyland. I mean, it had not nearly the amount of storytelling and trees and all the things that it has today. And, you know, the expansion of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge really, really improved it. Oh, look at here. Another birthday celebration gone bust. Pirates seems to be down. I'm sure that's going to upset a couple of guests today. But as we come around over in Adventureland, what's up, bud?
Hey,
How you doing?
I got something for you.
You got something for me?
Yeah, for Disneyland's birthday?
Is it a cupcake?
Yes,
For me?
I bought it.
Dude, can I trust it? Is there poison in here?
No, there's no poison.
What's your stance on the Jungle Cruise? Did you like the switches?
Yes.
Okay, then I can trust the cupcake. You're not out to get me. Disney Adventure Lux?
Yes.
What's up, bud? How you doing, man?
Good.
I thought you got a job at Walt Disney World.
I'm doing after.
After summer?
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Well, I'm going to keep doing my live stream. Thank you for the cupcake. I appreciate it, bud. You have fun today. I'll see you later on. I'll be here all day.
Yeah.
Take care, bud. Look at that. Now I got a cupcake in my hand. All right. There you go, Sasulu. You're getting the sense of humor. You're getting how I roll, bud. You, I would never trust a cupcake from. But keep this in mind. The Jungle Cruise may be a little tame and very family oriented to us today. But man, oh man, if you go back and look at old home footage of when people came to Disney in the 50s and the 60s, the Jungle Cruise, I'm trying to get away from this janitor, I swear to God I am. The Jungle Cruise, excuse me, ma'am. Thank you very much. The Jungle Cruise was the premier adult attraction. I mean, it was their Rise of the Resistance, their Indiana Jones, their Space Mountain, whatever e-ticket that you identify with. This was the one where you would see adults going through the Nile around the island of Catalina and Manhattan. That's the name of the two islands that you circle around. Manhattan is obviously in the east of America. Catalina sits off the coast here in California. And they named it that way to symbolize East meets West, which was the idea of the Jungle Cruise. But before they had to shave a little bit of it off to put in the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, the opening launch area was just so huge and really, really something special to see. And going back to trains, this window here, Oriental Tattooing by Professor Harper Goff. Harper Goff is a guy that Walt met when they were bidding on trains. Get to talking. Walt explains that he's a bit of an artist. I'm coming back down, excuse me. Thank you. And Walt says, hey man, when you get back to the States, look me up. I might have a job for you. And so Harper was the one that did a lot of the illustrations for what would become the idea of Mickey Mouse Park, which would then transfer over to Disneyland. And Harper would also be put in charge of working on the Jungle Cruise. So when you look at the old footage, he's sort of the he's like the, not good looking, he's the good old boy looking guy who looked like he could be on Hee Haw, but also was the guy that was driving a station wagon through the jungle, as the path of this attraction was literally like drawn out with sticks in the dirt, and they would drive a station wagon through it as they were digging it to create the path that the boats for now 66 years have been doing daily journeys through the jungle. And man, oh man, if you look at how the brush has grown in over 6.5 decades, it truly has become a jungle. And in the opening of Disneyland, they put ads in the OC Register and in the LA Times where they were basically like, hey, you got a tree you want to get rid of? We'll take it. And they were just doing free tree removal so they could have enough trees to fill their park. Let me tell you about streaming with a cupcake in your hand. It is not an easy thing to do. All All right, we are working our way around the edge of Adventureland, where back in the day, the Jungle Cruise would be your one attraction in that land. So, you know, today we get spoiled. Oh, Avengers Campus, it only opened with just web slingers. It's a disaster. Just didn't quite have that spoiled nature 66 years ago because people were just new to the whole thing, new to the whole concept. But one of the interesting designs of Adventureland is that little fork in the road that we just went down. See the way that it hooks like this? Adventureland is the one land you can't see into, right? It has a false facade, right? Really making it adventurous because you have to go in blindly, hook that left, hook that right, and then you would discover the Jungle Cruise. So purposely set up in a way to where the adventure wasn't just blindly, or not blindly, openly displayed for you. You had to take a leap of adventure yourself to find the adventure in Adventureland. All right, let me go to a trash can and try to figure out my cupcake management. Friends, it is a hot one today. I have already soaked through my blouse. The bench that I used to sit on has been taken away. All right, let's work our way back down Main Street. As we come around the central hub, which back in the day just had trees in it, no statue, no real celebration. And we find ourselves here at the head of Main Street, looking back down on what I say is the most perfect thing that Disneyland ever built, Main Street, USA. Just completely rich in its history and its fun facts, and the land that has required the absolute minimal amount of retheming and redecoration. So let's work our way down Main Street and see if I can't settle in somewhere and have a nice little chat with you folks, as we have now gone around the original footprint 66 years ago, paid tribute to the opening day attractions where we could, and just taking in the good times of how far we have traveled from last year. If you saw my video yesterday that I re-uploaded, where I went out to a very hot, dusty and dirty field in Burbank, where Mickey Mouse Park was almost built. And then look where we ended up today. A solid metaphor for 2020. That life doesn't always go your way. You may have your own plans. Hey, how you doing? And the world will show you a different way. But it's how you adapt, how you respond to all of the people that tell you no, and find a way to tell yourself and your heart yes. That's the part that I take the most from the Walt Disney and Disneyland story. All right, it appears the people are lined up here over on the train station, which once again, one of the greatest things that was ever done was building the train station up on the berm. And if you think about it, essentially hiding the park, a lot of people told Walt was a bad idea. How will people want to buy tickets to something they can't see? But it turned out to actually be a masterful idea, because the escapism that this would create would be one of the things that people would enjoy the most about Disneyland, that when you were in it, you never got to see out. which wasn't that big of a deal back in 55 because really there wasn't too much happening around Disneyland. But now that we have spanned time and we find ourselves sitting inside of a major metropolitan area in Southern California, it really, really works out. The Disneyland is hidden from the outside world. I'm just gonna lurk on somebody's merch. Look at this, somebody got the Jungle Cruise. Can I film this, is that okay? Sure. Yeah, here's the Jungle Cruise. A Sunday's supposed to come in it, or you can buy a Sunday and you get it. But look at that, I love when they make, thanks. I love when they make ride vehicles into merchandise. It's phenomenal.
Here's how you properly use your $26 value.
So we started our stream here today when we were able to catch the Disneyland band. And I've been told that there's a little something special planned for noon.
Just there and like, oh, picture.
And you can see that I'm not the only little birdie that caught that rumor. Oh, look at this. Dueling Jungle Cruise boats. Friends, my screen is back to being blacked out due to the extreme heat. I saw somebody leave a comment earlier that somebody should make a phone case that has ice in it. I think that is a genius idea. Let's get started on that ASAP because I sure would love to be able to say hi to you. But I do want to thank all of my Club 1313 members for always managing the chat, keeping the conversation going, answering all of the questions. I am beyond grateful for this community that we have built, and thinking about that this day last year, I created an entire 17-hour live stream using Google Earth, ride videos on YouTube, and we recreated an entire day of this from scratch. And we met each other for the first time. We obeyed by the Disneyland calendar of doing the parades at the appropriate times, the flag retreat ceremony, rope drop, an extra hour for your shopping convenience on Main Street. Like, we did it together. And I know that I met some of you on that day. And I'm so happy that 1 year later, we have really built our own little community and built it all in the same footprint of how Disneyland was built, where good folks come together for good times, leave all the BS at the door, and just have fun because this is something that we equally love and celebrate together. You can see the Main Street train station has a train in it right now. We just got a large number of guests that were dropped off. We actually have some guests up in what has been a roped off area. Interesting to see people up there. I really wish I didn't have this cupcake in my hand. So it is interesting that there are people up on the stairs because that area has been really blocked off for Mickey and Friends. And if you remember back in 55, there, if you look at the old stop animation footage of them building Disneyland, they had put a gazebo here where the flag's at, but then Walt realized that the gazebo would block Sleeping Beauty's castle, which just looks beautiful today. And so therefore the gazebo was removed further into the park. And now I can't remember exactly where it lives, but Disneyland was built on such a budget that this is an old LA light post that they bought. And I'm sure you know that the gas lamps that adorn Main Street, adorn Main Street were bought from the city of Baltimore. And here you see Walt's opening day speech. The Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past. This is the opening day speech that has been converted over to Morse code. And whenever you hop off the train over in New Orleans Square, which is not an original train station, you hear that speech which has been converted over to Morse code. And what I love about that is it keeps Walt's voice in the park every minute of every day as his opening speech is played at the train station. And how fitting that it would be at the train station, as the train inspired the entire dream. And then we have the Walt Disney family apartment above the fire department with the light that would be lit so everybody would know when Walt was on premises, and a light that has stayed lit ever since Walt would pass away. And it even stayed lit during the closure year of 2020, as well as during 2020, the flag was still going up and down every morning. And it literally would just bring tears to my eyes thinking that those two ceremonies, Walt's candle being illuminated and the flag going up at sunset and coming back down, going up at sunrise and coming back down at sunset, literally heartbreaking. And if you look over on YouTube, you can find a video of one of the local news stations showing the flag ceremony on a gray morning, and anchor lady just full on has a magic attack and just starts crying and having a hard time because the spirit of it all just gets her right in the feels. All right, so I see the cast member who just made a spectacle. If I recognize that CM, I think he's one of the character wranglers. So let's fall back into place. I kind of gave up my spot. Let's roll back over to the other side where we can get on the edge there. I apologize that we showed up with time to kill. I was told that this was going to happen at 11:45. I'm going to go ahead and anticipate that it has been pushed over to noon, and that's what the delay is for. So let's just come right back up to where we were here, off-center. I can see that Paul's theme park is in the hub, as well as Mondo of Five Fires. So as always, the Disneyland content creator community is always out. I've seen Dusty from, what's up, Adam? I've seen Dusty of Mice Chat. Hey, I kept telling you in your videos, I couldn't wait to see you back on Main Street. First time I ran into you was back on Main Street. It's so good to see you, man.
It's on its way down.
It's on its way down?
I'm gonna go get the birds.
Awesome. Good to see you, Adam. Here we go. The band and the cavalcade is working its way down Main Street, and we'll be here soon. I cannot tell you how many people I told, hey, when this is all over with, I can't wait to see you back on Main Street. And it has happened so many times now that it is just magical. All right, we're going to just rest in here, and we'll get this nice view of it turning the corner, and then once it has passed us, we'll go catch it from the other side of the hub. I can see Mickey and hear the band approaching us. This will be my first cavalcade, my first thing that looks like a parade since I was here for Magic Happens opening day festivities. This is probably going to be an emotional one, and I'm just going to stand on the edge of the curb and not have people stand in front of me. And definitely taking their time. I guess it did start at 11:45, probably up by the castle. But we ended up exactly where we were supposed to be, and I hope you enjoyed that little walk around town square. I've really tried to focus today's narrative about the journey of Disney over 66 years, our personal journey over the last year, and just all the love and inspiration that comes from this place. Once the cavalcade shows up, I will stop talking and let the audio of the cavalcade take over. You see we got a couple of CMs there, keeping people crossing Main Street in an efficient manner. It appears, oh yeah, they're playing Walt's speech down there. That's gonna break me up. Oh man, it's already getting me. It's already getting me. Oh, to be here this year, to be here with you guys in the real world after doing it artificially last year, to have gone on this journey, to have made a couple hundred videos about Disneyland, covering the news, doing the live streams, creating a Halloween night, creating a Star Wars night, creating a Thanksgiving and Christmas live stream, being here on the cast member day, the opening day, the beginning of Buena Vista Street, the first day of Downtown Disney, covering every little thing over the last year, to be here on the 66th anniversary and know how far we have traveled over the last 365 days as a community. Yeah, you're damn right it's gonna get to me. You're damn right it's gonna make me emotional, and I'm not even gonna apologize. But I will not cry into the camera, even though that is normally my policy, because I want you guys to each be able to see the show, and I appreciate you hanging out with me live on a Saturday afternoon. And if you like celebrations and anniversaries, don't forget I will be at Walt Disney World the entire last week of September, with my final day at Walt Disney World, where I will be there on the 1st, October 1st, when the 50th anniversary kicks off. And that day I will be hopping from park to park, doing several micro live streams that day, popping up, giving you coverage all around Walt Disney World for the entire day. So if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, because you don't want to miss the live streams when I always take you into the action. For example, in September, I will be taking you to Oogie Boogie's Bash every Thursday, as well as every Thursday in October. So our live streams always try to take you into the magic. And here we go. Once the banner passes, I will stop narrating and I will hand over the show, and we will pick up the show on the backside of the hug. All right, friends, here it begins. I will say hi to you on the other side. Hello.
Yeah, Mickey.
Oh, thank you. I like your father's.
to Disneyland on this special occasion. Today, we celebrate the 66th birthday of Disneyland. Since opening, Walt's dream has brought joy to millions of guests around the world. Join us now as we go back to that memorable day, July 17, 1955.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past. And here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future. Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts that have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
And now, let's join together and sing Happy Birthday to the happiest place on earth.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Disneyland.
From all of us to all of you, a heartfelt thank you for joining us on the 66th birthday of Disneyland. Have a magical day, everyone.
Wow. I thought I could sing Happy Birthday, but I couldn't make it. I got one line out, then the emotion got me. Oh my God.
I'm holding my lightsaber out.
Friends, what an epic journey the last year has been. I hope you enjoyed this. What am I doing with this? Look, it's all melted. Friends, I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. I hope you enjoyed celebrating Disneyland with me. I wish I could see your comments, but I'm looking at a phone that is like 99% dimmed, and I could just see little white squares going by. Look at the sweat on my brow. It is hot out here, and my phone is feeling it. But outside of the Walt Disney family apartment, where the candle has now been lit every day of every moment, symbolizing a man and his dream, I would encourage you to dream your dream and then work on building it. Because those of us that have lived a life that has made our dreams come true, it is the greatest reward you will ever know. I am far from being a financial millionaire, but I am definitely an emotional millionaire a few times over. And it was the greatest decision I ever made, following my heart, following my dreams, and doing exactly what I've wanted to do since the early age of 20. And now I found myself over 2 decades later, still dreaming the dream, still finding fun adventures to get into, and I'm always thankful when you show up to do it with me. So friends, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed today's coverage and this nostalgic walk around Disneyland, looking at how the park was 66 years ago. I appreciate all of you showing up, and I appreciate my club 1313.com for being my best Disneyland friends and supporting the channel. Friends, this is where I say, until the next time I see you with a melted cupcake in Main Street and tears in your eyes, I'll see you back on the channel with more Disneyland fun. Good day, everybody. Happy birthday, Disneyland. I love you.